New Waterford Crystals are being added to the Times Square New Year's Eve ball this year. It's set to drop in just a few days as we get ready to wrap up 2020. So for more on this, we want to bring in Tom Brennan. He's Waterford Crystal's master artisan, the man behind the design that we love to look at year in and year out. Tom, just start with talking to us about how are you changing the look of the ball this year compared to what we've seen in the past?
Sure. Hey, everybody. Hey to all your viewers. Hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. Thank you for spending some of your time here at Waterford Crystal this afternoon. So at the top of, when you think of the top of this interview, you're asking me about the new theme, the new design, the changes. And really every single year, Waterford Crystal introduces a brand new theme, a brand new design, if you will. This is actually one of the crystal panels from the Times Square ball. I can show it to you just briefly right there, which you're looking at on your screen. So each year a new theme is introduced. This year's theme is the gift of happiness. So the iconic Waterford Times Square ball, stands as an enduring tradition. It's a sign of hope, of generosity, of course, of happiness. So this is the new one for this year.
Can I tell you how much those of us who have stayed in New York since before the pandemic appreciate what you're doing? How important is it that Waterford, you've done this for years and years and years, but that you continue to do it in a year like this?
You know what? You're speaking my language right there because, 2020 has been unprecedented. We get that. We understand it. But I find and Waterford finds just enormous comfort in enduring traditions. I mean, can you imagine, like, everything is canceled, like games are canceled and confirmations and weddings, you name it. We did not want to cancel the Times Square ball this year because it's too important to so many people. We know that there is 1.2 billion people plus this year going to be watching this around the world. And Waterford is honored and to be involved basically what is like the largest worldwide New Year's Eve celebration as everybody watches that famous Waterford Crystal ball drop each and every year in New York. And we were never going to change that.
Hey, Tom, how soon do you start planning for the next year when you're thinking about the next design that you're going to include? Not to fast forward too much, but how quickly do you start thinking about that and what exactly goes into it?
Well, basically, we start planning. So you're talking about fast forwarding about the 3rd of January. The first meetings take place for the following year. When we had a meeting this year in early January, we didn't know what 2020 was about to happen. So this year, we're hoping it's going to be a little bit easier to get things across the line. But, we plan very, very early because this is a meeting of the minds. When you think of what this ball is, this is a ball that has 2,688 of these individual Waterford Crystal panels. The ball itself is 12 feet, a geodesic sphere on a reinforced floor. It weighs about 6 tons in weight. It is a logistical behemoth to bring the crystals across from our European facilities in Ireland and beyond, to bring all the hydraulic, the technicians, the master craftsman, myself from the PR side, bringing us all together. This year has been very, very different because there was very little face-to-face meetings. So, but we did it. And this year is going to be bigger and better than ever because you always got to reach higher. You always got to push it a bit further. And that's what Waterford Crystal has done again this year in unprecedented times, of course.
And one thing, by the way, getting away from the celebration to the business, home furnishings have actually held up in a lot of cases during the pandemic because people are stuck at home and realize, oh, that's kind of shabby, that 1970s dumpster dive I did when I got out of school. With crystal, what have you guys been seeing? Is it art crystal that people might be using to spruce up their surroundings?
Well, Waterford Crystal, we are part of the Fiskars group. Everyone knows the name Fiskars for those famous orange scissors. So Fiskars group is responsible for Waterford, for Wedgwood, Royal Copenhagen, Itala, Gerber. So we are seeing a significant growth in our business. And I give you a prime example of that. So I'm broadcasting here from my home here in North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte. So I'm originally from Ireland. You can tell that I don't have a Southern accent, of course. But we know, and I am doing as a person, I'm decorating my home. I'm putting more and more money into my home because, you know what? I'm not going on that cruise. I haven't taken that vacation. I can change the car next year. So we in Waterford are seeing an explosion of our bower, of our stemmer, of our beautiful Times Square ornaments over the last number of months and weeks. It's because people are investing in themselves, I think, like never before. And now we have the chance to do it. Before we go back on the treadmill of life, which is going to be, we hope, in a couple of months' time, but people are investing the time right now to make their homes as beautiful as they can. And one of the ways to do it is Waterford Crystal, of course.
And Tom, just going back to what you were saying before, how the pandemic has really changed this year. It's complicated everyone's lives, but really it's complicated your efforts in getting the crystal ball and getting everything set and ready to go for just a few days from now. When you talk about those logistics and how tough it has been, I guess to what extent has it complicated those efforts? And then what do you guys expect the night of? Because we know it's just a limited crowd. Only so many people are going to be allowed in. Is anyone from Waterford going to be there?
Yes and no. I mean, it is going to be a very, very limited gathering. I mean, the one thing that we want to say, and to be responsible, is not an open invite to come to Times Square to watch the ball drop. The ball drop will be dropping and will be broadcast on television. So we're urging everybody to stay home, be safe, surround yourself with your loved ones, have your champagne and your beautiful Waterford Crystal toasting flute in the comfort of your own home. So we're urging people not to do that. You know, NYPD are going to be there. You know, we're in conversation with the state, with the city legislators, with the Times Square Alliance to make sure it's all done right and proper. But, you know, and the entertainers are entertaining this year. I mean, Gloria Gaynor is the top basically artist this year, and her main song is going to be "I Will Survive." I mean, how very apt is that? But to your earlier question about getting it all together, I mean, the one thing that we haven't suffered in the sense, because we regrouped pretty quickly when we knew what we could and couldn't do. But what we have done is that we couldn't have those face-to-face meetings. You know, the craftsman from Waterford jetting across the United States and vice versa. So that has been very, very compact and very, very limited. But we do it when we absolutely have to. We get all the permissions. We follow all local restrictions. So we're very, very careful on what we do. But I think the main thing here is that we are sticking to the knitting. We're doing what we do well, and we want the world to celebrate when that famous Waterford Crystal ball drops.
All right. Well, Tom Brennan, we thank you so much for all of your effort. Waterford Crystal's master artisan, thank you so much. We wish you a very happy New Year. Stay tuned. We have a special 2020 year-end wrap-up coming up next.